everybody. How are you? Oh my goodness. Okay, so I have to get my camera. For some reason, the little flip-up screen has me upside down, and I haven't even had anything to drink. So seriously, it's a challenge. So I'm gonna try to pay attention instead to the program window I have at that screen over there and everything else here, and hopefully I won't be looking off into the space when I'm actually talking to you guys. But it's so weird. I'm standing on my head right in front of me. Hey, hi everybody. Congratulations, Lupe, for winning on Christina's live. That was very cool. You ought to have some fun with that. And yes, Linda, I did do a short about, I was going back through things and I found that one section and it cut it out when I did on Opus Clips. It cut that out as thinking it was spectacular. So I posted it as a short. I think you should do a tutorial on that. I mean, it would be awesome. Gail commented on the short, thought we needed a tutorial. Yeah, you guys, yeah. Anyway, no shame, no pressure. Anyway, everybody, how are you today? Linda's here. Welcome, Linda and Lupe. And Madonna's here. Yes, Madonna, I got your stuff. She sent her things in right after the live on Thursday. It was so funny. And Tamara got her stuff in earlier today. Larry sent something in that I literally opened it and gasped. I was speechless and stunned and just blown away for a lot of reasons, and I'll show it to you why on that. So let's see if I can do this. Turn my camera just a little bit so I'm not there. That's a little better. And who else is here? Julia's here. Hi, Julia. Good to see you. I hope everybody's had a wonderful day. How was the drive back, Angie? I saw you guys you were trying to be on, but you know, that road, whew, there can be dips and spots that are dead to the world in terms of internet. New glasses, everybody. See, got new glasses. Yay. One pair. I have 2 new pairs. And then I just ordered another pair for sunglasses because, you know, going to Phoenix, it might be good. So, Julia the busy. Yes, Madonna and Angie, somebody just posted a short. I did. It was just too fun. And you know, don't be surprised if other people, because I have a whole bunch throughout the whole thing. Like I could just make all kinds of shorts with you guys. No. Okay, Linda says, I'll email you. It's easy. Okay, Linda, you may be my first guinea pig on having using the actual interview mode here for eCam. And I may just have to send you a link and have you on at the same time. We'll have to practice it, girl. I won't make you do it cold turkey, kind of like, you know. But and then you could just walk us through the steps because, no, that's your thing. Okay. Tamara's on her way home. Yay. You were confused about the short? It was a piece that, sorry, Juliet, it in shorts, I took it, I use Opus Clips, which is an AI that you can put your long form YouTube and it'll give you shorts and it'll put captions on them and stuff. Some of them are good, some of them are crap. And so there was one, and you have to adjust the size and all that kind of stuff. So there was one that was from like last fall before Thanksgiving or that before Halloween that Linda had done a resin covered pumpkin that she used bubbles thing, and it just made this really cool thing. So she sent the picture in, and it looks like a really cool idea. And so I think that she needs to do a demo on it. Larry's driving and listening. Oh, yay. No, you're not. Do not. Oh. All right. So tonight's stories, which we're going to get to, are going to do with this about I'm embarrassed and about I don't think, and the comments where we don't show our things and the things that we think we're not. The two people, both stories are really kind of a little heavy in some ways, but in other parts, they're just amazing. When you think about what these people went through and did and how they recovered. I mean, we have the chance to celebrate if you want to. It's all up to you. But what I really want us to do is, even if you don't want to celebrate out with others, celebrate within yourself about what you have accomplished and how good it is, and how it's something that you can embrace. We all have talents, and there's all different levels of them, and it's just fun to have that. So that's me. Larry the Wise, red light, green light. Bumps in the road. Okay. Can't wait to see the art. Yes, we're getting there. And thanks, Madonna. I'm glad you like them. I do too. I like them. They're nice and big. The other ones are like, wow. I got to get my hair cut. Get those. They're like from Zenny. They're whoa. They're Ida Apfel. She's a designer. They went crazy. I got a little wild. Was that a dragon scale pour? Might have been. I'll cheat review. Soap bubble dragon scale. Anyway, fun. Yeah, it was very, very cool. All right. So tonight we have art, and then we have stories. So I'm going to start with the art. It's time for show and tell. And let's see where it is. Where am I? Oh, there it is. There. There I am. She did a piece on on stacking when you stack rocks at the beach, and I've got some black and white photos of this one on my website, and I just gave it a try. I'm not great at rocks. They look more like circles on top of each other, and I'm not this, and I don't know how to make them not do the stuff, but it's okay. It was fun. It was kind of a therapy day when I needed to do that. And then the last one, this one is the one I like the best for me. Lilacs are my favorite flower, Lilacs and iris are my favorite flower. And this was off of a photograph that I did, and just I was really like the way that the brush kind of made it easy for me. And then let's see if I can get the other one to do. I can do a camera overlay of camera C, and you can maybe see what I worked on today. I'll show you guys. Don't need the border on that. I just grabbed these, and they are classic size. There. Okay, so I'll make it a little bigger. I did a couple of infrareds today that I did a while back in Arizona, and these were both on Silly Mountain, on a hike on Silly Mountain. So that one you can't really. It's got a lot more detail there. Oh, you guys can see it in yours. My monitor is kind of not calibrated well again. So you can see that one, and then there's the saguaro. And these are infrared black and whites. So that's that's me. Now we have Larry, and what he did, it's called The Prince of Botswana. And he did this based off of one of my photographs. And I tell you, I am so honored and I am so blown away. And he caught it so well. I mean, it brought tears to my eyes. It's so, so beautiful. And has such the attitude of that silly little warthog in the morning. Linda, did you send that one with? She said, Linda, Gretchen, didn't I send you the moons, the canvas with the tree, and the two 3D ones that were all the same technique? I don't know. I have to go back and look at that way back. I don't. When you guys send stuff, I tend to not keep it. I have a file that has some things, but I can. But anyway, but the way Larry did the watercolor on this one, just that morning, when we were sitting in the buried, at the water hole in the blind in the hide, and this warthog just came trotting through the morning. Sun had just come up, and the dust was still kind of in. It was this colors, and I just love this. Yeah, irises. I've been, Julia, lots of fun with watercolor doodles. So, lilacs, yeah, lilacs were my grandmother's had a whole bunch of lilacs and irises. I had I love the flowers, saguaros, yes. Oh, hi there, Fatima, how are you? Yeah, the saguaro cactus, that's, it was really fascinating when I learned about how they preserve the cactuses now in Arizona. I know the colors of this are just perfect. It has such a great attitude. Hog with an attitude. Yep. And the warthogs, they just made me crack up so much. You would sometimes not see them at all running across where it was really dusty because they would match. And other times, like when I was out swimming one afternoon where we were staying, and there were a whole family of warthogs, like running around the grounds and like watching me, like, what are you doing? We usually come take a drink in the swimming pool. So yes, they're absolutely stunning. So thank you, Larry. This is just beautiful. I'm really, really honored that you chose one of my photographs to paint and that you just took it to a whole new level. Actually, this guy is one of the photographs in my show at the mustard seed, which June 13th, Larry and Angie, at 4:30 to 6:30 is the reception. If you guys want to come out. Yay! There we go. And next we have Madonna. And Madonna had several. So the first one is, I love this. I like this new way I can do this. There. The V-Dub van is plywood, designed, cut out, and painted for a friend. She's a Grateful Dead fan and wanted a Garcia Santa driving the bus. She hung it on her railing for Christmas decorations. I love that. I just think it's so cool. Grateful Dead, Santa. I have to show it to my friend Jerry out here, who is a full-out Santa, and he's a guitarist, and he sings in bands, and oh my gosh, he'll love that. Next we have, let me get me out of the way, down, I'll move myself down below Madonna's name, there. This was a sunflower B&B. Painting is an 11 by 14 acrylic on canvas, has reference photo from a friend. And it's perfect for yesterday with National Bee Day. Awesome. That's great. I love it. I love the detail, and look at the shading in the interior of, in the whole thing. But if you start like on the interior down in the lower right corner and you move out, how the shading just is so perfect all the way. Wow. Very cool. Okay, then we have, I did that one. Lost count of where I was. There we go. Here we go. And the Buddha bear is painted on the back of my friend's jean jacket. Another Grateful Dead piece she wanted. Acrylic fabric paint, then heat set in the dryer. Oh, by the way, you guys, I have some silk screen medium. I am going to try that TLP pigment in and see, and Bob had an old silk shirt that fell apart, and I'm going to try painting on it. It had holes and ripped and everything. We'll see what happens. I may have to soak it and get any kind of detergents or sizing that he has in it out. Anyway, heat set in the dryer. Well, that's cool. Look at that rose. But the Buddha bear, yeah, that's pretty special. And then next is flying in from the top. The owl is a painted gourd. And then I made his claws with polymer clay. Okay, now that's just super, super, super clever. He's about 12 inches tall. Wow. Again, look at the shading and the details in the feathers and those eyes. Yes. That's so cool. Yeah, I'm not going to try silk screen. I'm going to try to paint on silk. I don't know. I've done silk screen. I used to do it every year at school with the kids. Crazy. And this one is a dolphin scene. I painted, I love this, on an 8 by 12 wall in my friend's daughter's room. Okay, the dolphin, is that a mermaid? And the seahorses and the computer and all that, and the necklace in the teacup, all these details, and the digital time on that. Or is that when you took the picture? Maybe might be when you took the picture, but the fish and everything. Oh my gosh. And the coral pieces, like the coral trees. Are those meant to be coral trees? Oh, you had an owl on your property this weekend? Oh, nice. That's fun, Angie. Gosh, it's just so awesome. Really wonderful. Thank you, Madonna. And next we have... Come on. Come on. Go down to here. There we go. Whew. Okay. And this is Tamara. And she says she's still working on the superb lyrebird. Okay, let me get that a little smaller there. I had some problems with the correct color and have the tail yet. So this is the one that she had the up close details, and I chose to put that one first because then she has this one too that she did, and that's this one. Look at that. Get this out of the way. Man, look at that. Look at that. This wing, the colors and the way they go and kind of just mimic the color of the wood here in the thing. Oh my gosh. It's just too awesome. Just checking my email, making sure there's nothing else. I didn't see anything. Wow. I love it. I can hardly wait till you see when it's done. Take your time, but it'll be awesome. It'll be awesome. How do you decide when something's done? I just, because, okay. So let's do a big applause for everybody. Hey, good job, everybody. And I'm going to go to here, but I have to... Okay. This one, I think, is the one that... So I have to show you the mess over here. So these are all little pieces that I cut out, that I painted, that I really don't know what to do with. Those are 2 failed prints. There's a whole bunch of other stuff over there. But, you know, I don't know about you guys, but this is the honest truth of Gretchen's craziness around here. Too many wires, too many boxes, watercolor down there. Everybody's, I mean, artwork, Linda, all over the place. It's crazy. Now, understand, this is why you might understand, and it'll make sense when I tell you that Bob and I are going to start building another shed outside up there so that it'll have some more space and to do some other things. But I'll probably still broadcast from in here, but out there I can maybe have a bit of clean. Please tell me, everybody in the chat, please tell me that you have a space that looks just as semi-controlled chaos as I do. I'm okay with this because the rest of the house is super clean because Zoya was here today. And so that means the upstairs is clean, the hallway's clean, this room's at least vacuumed, and the front yard's weeded, and the side yard's weeded, and I'm happy because that's what needed to be done. Yes. Yep, that's okay. So, shed building time, putting a metal back on the boathouse garage. It's not a boat, we call it the boathouse. It was built as one, but it's a separate garage that we have. And they built it with no back on it and no one side. It just had 2 sides. So it gets, you can't store anything in the Northwest in some place that's open to the elements. Yeah, it just doesn't work. So we're going to put it back on it. And yeah. Oh, I didn't even show you underneath. Underneath there are I'm like underneath there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 baskets. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. All packed with art stuff. All packed. So, on we go to the stories tonight. The stories tonight, I really, this was hard because it just, this first one does not start, it's not a cheerful story. Sorry. The second one doesn't start out cheerful, ends better, but they're about two amazing people, and the artwork fits with them so well and is something that's just so astounding. But the story of these people and of these artists is beyond incredible. The first book is called Silent Days, Silent Dreams. And this is it. It's by Allem Say. I read Grandfather Twilight to you. No, not Grandfather Twilight. Grandfather Twilight? Not Grandfather Twilight. Grandfather's Journey that he did. Alan lives in Portland. He's a 3-4-time Caldecott winner, author and illustrator of many acclaimed and award-winning books, including the Caldecott Medal winner Grandfather's Journey, which is the only Caldecott winner that ever was a unanimous decision. Honor book, The Boy of the 3-Year Nap, Drawing from Memory. I think I did that one for you. The Inker's Shadow. I don't think I've read Inker's Shadow. And The Favorite Daughter. He's known for his technical skill, varied style, and he lives in Portland. When he did Grandfather's Journey, the book took him about a year and a half to do all the illustrations, and he did them all. And he painted the illustrations first. And then it took him a day and a half to write the story. Once he'd done all the illustrations, it only took him a day and a half to do the story because he had told it to himself so much, and it won the Caldecott. Sorry about all the splatters. I tried splatter paint too. So the first book tonight is going to be Silent Days, Silent Dreams, and it is the story of an artist named James Castle. Pretty amazing. When people need to express themselves or have to in some way, it's amazing what they do to do so. And when they can't in conventional ways and how they're perceived, it's just amazing to see how this artist took it. And I'm going to make sure that that's as bright. Let me turn on another light for you here just to make sure that it's bright enough. Oops, that's going to shine kind of there. Hey, camera, don't do that. There we go. All right. I'm just checking before entropy happens. Not yet, Linda. I've been trying to just relax. Oh. Heart monitor. As long as I can close the door. Yes. Hello, my peeps. Finally home, Larry. Tamara, take a deep breath and listen to the doctors, but I'll give you just a little bit of things. At one point, back in my teaching days, I wore a King of Hearts for a month and a half. And because I would have my blood pressure would fly sky high and then would plummet, and I would like pass out in the middle of the classroom. So I had to wear this thing. Kind of things. Then I was taken in and they did all kinds of tests and they couldn't make it do it. Then I was taken in and put under and they fed adrenaline into my heart for 2 hours to try to make it repeat what it was happening on that. And they couldn't make it do it. And finally the doctor, when he woke me up, he said, you know what? Your heart's good. Let's talk about your lifestyle. And I was going too many directions in too many ways and just not dealing with anything. And once I figured that, once he said that to me, took that, just saying that, and it, whew, and I've never had it happen again. So just breathe. Okay, story time. Silent Days, Silent Dreams by Allem Say. James Castle was born on September 25th, 1899, on a farm in Garden Valley, Idaho. I think I knew him as well as anyone could know him, which wasn't very much. But I want to tell you how I remember him. He was my uncle. I think this is... James opened his eyes to the world and saw things that moved and things that were still. Anything that moved seemed to scare him. He cried as his parents bobbed about with him in darting eyes and flapping mouths, but James couldn't hear himself shrieking. For him, the world would always be silent. Like a small visitor in a museum, he stared at the unmoving faces in frames hanging on the walls. His father was the postmaster of their small community. The castle living room served as a post office and a general store. James played with catalogs, books, stamped envelopes, and packages that cluttered the mailroom. One day, he discovered pencils and started to draw. His parents gave him scraps of paper to keep him occupied. Soon, James was old enough to start school. On the way there, he stopped at every road sign to figure out what it meant. He never found out. But later, he would put made-up signs in his drawings, which no one knew what to make of, so they called them totems. James saw more people than he had ever seen before, and all with darting eyes and flapping mouths. From that day, he would always be afraid of strangers. James scared everyone with shrieks that he couldn't hear. His father slapped him and locked him up in the attic. "Jimmy's quiet time," the father told the family. One afternoon, when James was let out after a long, quiet time, he looked for a place to hide. He sneaked up into the loft of the unused ice house and saw a living picture framed by the open door. James collected trash paper around the farm and drew on it with burnt matchsticks. He drew everything from memory and hid the drawings in the walls of his first studio. His father tried to make him work on the farm, but James only got in everybody's way. Finally, he was left to play alone while the family worked. They called him Dummy James. James couldn't hear, but he saw what it meant on their faces. James spent so much time in the attic that it got to be his room. When his mother put a mattress on the floor, he drew the kind of bed he wanted instead. Then he drew all the things he wanted and put them up in the imaginary house of his own. He lined up the drawings against the attic walls. It must have looked like a kind of gallery in there. Nellie, the second eldest of James' sisters, had been born with hearing, but when she was 6 or 7, measles made her deaf. When James was 10, he and Nellie were sent to attend the Idaho School for the Deaf and the Blind in Gooding, about 160 miles from Garden Valley. 17-year-old Nellie turned out to be a model student. James failed at everything. But Nellie told me about the 2 discoveries her kid brother made at the school that changed him for good. Dear Mama and Papa, we are fine. Jimmy is in the boys' dormitory and I don't see him after classes. I think he likes the big buildings with so many rooms. They are like palaces. I like my room, and the other girls are very nice. I will write soon. Your loving daughter, Nellie. One was the school library, a room with the walls covered with books like gorgeous wallpaper. Then he saw a teacher sewing together a book, the way his mother sewed clothes at home. The woman was making textbooks for her students. Other teachers did the same. James never tired of watching them. For James, I think books were beautiful packages of secrets that he could never puzzle out, so he drew in them to illustrate and put his mark on pages of strange signs and symbols and to make them his books. Nellie wrote home, "When Jimmy missed classes, I got notes from his teachers. He liked the library. He couldn't read, but he liked to look at the pretty books. The teachers made our textbooks there. The students read them. Jimmy drew in them." He did the same with other students. Hang on. Sorry. Oh, a pepper just fell out of my tooth from dinner. Piece of pepper. Oh. He did the same with the other students. Drawing them in his way was his way of making friends. Art classes were given only to the girls. That made James even more secretive. And when teachers caught him drawing, they were upset. They thought he was making fun of them and the students who couldn't see or hear. They took away all his drawing things. James ran away. Each time he was caught and brought back and made to copy out the alphabet and numerals over and over. The odd thing was that he seemed to like the punishment. He drew them endlessly in the same way he drew everything else. Maybe he thought it was art class. It wasn't surprising that eventually he invented his own alphabets and signs. James was good with his hands and did well in shoe repair class, but the school couldn't teach him to speak. Finally, the principal wrote to Mr. Castle that James was ineducable. He was 15. The principal warned Mr. Castle not to give James any drawing materials at home. He said James should learn to read and write and not waste time on drawings. James drew everything he saw around the farm and decorated his studio with artwork. He drew a lot of imaginary houses and his name on them. By then, James had 2 younger sisters, and there were 7 kids altogether. One time, his brother Joe stole some drawings and showed them to the girls. He finally learned his name, they laughed. Jimmy's Dream House. Look, he's made friends for himself. Packages of secrets. What a line, exactly. James stayed in his studio to guard it from the invaders. And whenever he caught Joe and his friends trying to raid his room, he let out a piercing scream and chased them away. And Dummy got his second mean nickname, Crazy Jimmy. In 1923, James' parents sold the farm in Garden Valley and bought a smaller farm in Star, Idaho. All of James' artwork was left behind in the ice house loft. At the new place, Jimmy turned an empty shed into his second studio. Mr. Castle died 4 years later. Only Mrs. Castle, James, and his youngest sister Peggy was left at the farm. When Peggy married and had a baby girl, Mrs. Castle sold the farm together they moved to Boise. Again, all of James's artwork, which he had carefully wrapped in packages, was left behind. In the new house, Peggy had 3 more children. Her husband, Guy, put a cot and a desk and a little wood stove in an old abandoned chicken house for James. Lonely for friends, he made cutout dolls, farm animals, and birds out of cardboard saved from trash bins. He made furniture out of cardboard, even a window, and turned the chicken house into his 3rd studio, which was also his first real bedroom. It wasn't long before neighborhood kids discovered Crazy Jimmy's studio and trashed it while he was out. After each raid, he let out a terrible scream. Finally, James took an armload of his work and made several trips to a nearby canal. But James liked kids, and he was friendly to anyone who showed interest in his work, even though that didn't happen often. I'm the only one he ever allowed in his studio because he knew I liked to watch him draw. Besides my mom, Emma is his next younger sister, 2 years older than Peggy. Even though he couldn't hear me, I called him Uncle Jim. He never knew my name is Bob. My family moved to Washington when I was 13, and after high school, I joined the Army. I thought a lot about Uncle Jim. There was no use in writing to him. My letters would just be scraps of paper for him to draw on. As soon as I was a civilian again, I went to Oregon and enrolled in an art school in Portland, where, to tell the truth, I was just an okay student. The professor didn't notice me until I showed him some drawings that Uncle Jim had given me. Where is this artist hiding? I've got to meet him. Uncle Jim was going to get me an A from the hardest professor in school. I agreed to drive him to Boise. I hadn't seen my uncle in 10 years and hoped he wasn't still living in the chicken house. The professor babbled more than usual. He took away examples of Uncle's art and organized an exhibit of it back in the school in Portland. So Uncle Jim had his first one-man show at my school, and he never knew about it. Then a gallery in Portland sold some pictures. Newspapers wrote reviews about an amazing art made by a deft artist who was completely self-taught, and the sales of Uncle's work excited Annie Peggy very much. Then Bob Clay, the director of the Boise Gallery of Art, heard the news. "They're talking about a local artist," he exclaimed. Mr. Clay visited Uncle Jim at Peggy's house. He brought with him a drawing pad, and soon the 2 men were drawing each other in it. Then Uncle Jim showed him his studio. The chicken coop distressed the director, but the artwork so impressed him that he promised to put it up in the show up in the gallery. He asked Peggy not to bring James to the gallery in his overalls, but was still surprised when he showed up in a silk suit. Mr. Clay said James was the sharpest one at the opening. The turnout was good, and a few pieces were sold. Reporters and photographers hovered around the artist. He stayed long after everyone was gone, looking at his work all in frames, rocking slowly in his new shoes. Peggy was happy when some galleries started selling his work. Then she worried about people seeing where her brother had lived and worked, and she took him to a used trailer dealer. Uncle Jim drew Peggy a picture with wheels for feet, which she didn't understand. After a lot of growling from Uncle, she bought him a 2-room mobile home and a television. I heard him laugh for the first time. He could laugh like anyone else. After 30 years in a chicken coop, Uncle Jim finally got his dream house, as the family called it. He worked in it for 15 more years in the same way he had when I was a kid, drawing with soot and spit on scavenged paper. I think he was happy. So the author's note says, 4 years ago, Court Conley, a friend who lives in Idaho, asked if I would draw a portrait of a local artist there. He wanted to donate it to a library. We've been friends for over 50 years, and I'd borrowed money from him. I agreed to do a drawing, and he sent a photo of the artist and a catalog of his work. It was my introduction to James Castle, an artist I didn't know. I opened the catalog and suddenly remembered the excitement of seeing a Van Gogh for the first time. I was 12, and the Van Gogh was a poster, but I was seeing a painting for the first time, and it was a living thing. Now the catalog made me sit up. Who was this James Castle? How did he come to make such startling original art? I skimmed through the text and traced out a thumbnail biography. He was born premature, 2 months premature on September 25th in 1899. He was deaf, mute, autistic, and probably dyslexic, yet he managed to teach himself to draw. He spent 5 years at the Idaho School for the Deaf and Blind. He never learned to speak, read, write, or use sign language. Deprived of drawing materials, he drew on waste paper with sharpened sticks dipped in spit and soot. For 30 years, he worked in an abandoned chicken house, then 15 more years in a 2-room mobile home. He died on October 26, 1977, and left more than 15,000 pieces of artwork. Not an eventful life. I asked Court for more information, and soon my workroom became cluttered with piles of publications. I read a biography and essays, watched taped interviews of his surviving relatives and art critics and dealers. They told conflicting stories. We know a great deal about Van Gogh from the letters he wrote to his brother Theo, the painted everything from life for the stars at night. James Castle had no words. He drew from memory and in secrecy. He was called abusive names like Crazy Jimmy, the Dummy, and the Retard. I also was called a dummy when I first came to America. Not knowing English in California felt like the same as being deaf and mute. Now I wanted to dig out my buried memory and try to see the young James' silent world through his eyes. So I began this book. He says, drawing like making mud pies or dancing for joy is a natural play activity for children. No lessons are needed to get them going. James got going on his own and kept going for 70 years in isolation. Only 2 persons were known to have watched him draw. One was his nephew, Robert Beach. After he died, as with Van Gogh, much of what he has made turned out to be works of art. My teacher, Noro Shinpei, had said that the artist's time in the studio is time in paradise. For James, I think life was one long silent dream, which he recorded for himself and unintentionally for the world. Silent Days, Silent Dreams by Allem Say. About the artist James Castle. It gave me chills when I read it the first time. It just gave me chills. I got sad, and then it gave me chills, and even more. And I was like, oh my gosh. And yeah, amazing story. Just beautiful story. I'm glad you guys liked it. No, art isn't a waste of time. Yeah, and Allem Say, what he did to illustrate it and take his own style that he has and really represent how James Castle drew himself. It just such a great match. Now, the next story is written by the artist's sister, twin sister. It is a book called Unbound, The Life and Art of Judith Scott. The art is by Melissa Sweet, who we've gone through some of her. She's Caldecott medalist. I've talked about her. So Joyce Scott with Bree Spangler and Melissa Sweet wrote this book called Unbound, The Life and Art of Judith Scott, where Allem Say's work had that very monotone kind of colors until you got to the little stick figure type things, dolls that he made, and the rainbow at the end in the gallery. Oh my gosh. This again, Melissa Sweet uses amazing her style and the use of color and shift in tone and intensity to really help tell this story. Again, a beautiful story, not as long. And I hope you guys, this is another one. Yeah. Unbound. The life and art of Judith Scott. What we don't understand about how artists work and how, oh my goodness. And I love the photographic part of her combination of photos and those pieces. And the use of some of Judith Scott's own artwork in it. Just a sec. Bob made a really good dinner, but part of it stuck in my tooth there. Entwined. Before we know the touch of air on our skin, my sister and I know each other. Judy and I are twins, and we are each other's world. We share everything. Our mom, our dad, our 3 older brothers, and our home. Together under the sun and moon and the stars, it's all we know, and we are happy. We sleep like spoons, nestled in a drawer. I'm going to turn this one off just a sec. Is that better without that light? There we go. There. And saturation. There we go. We play inside with twin dolls and a pair of tiny teacups. Outside, we have matching pails for making mud pies and mulberry soup. I don't know if everything comes in twos, but it seems that way to me. Most days, neighborhoods, kids come and go. We circle around each other's backyards until our parents call us in for dinner. No matter where we are, Judy wants to do what I'm doing. Mom says we're 2 peas in a pod. On warm nights, we play on an old outdoor couch with our upside-down selves lying close together like tiny explorers of the universe. Between the blue sea below and the million stars above to guide us, Judy's eyes are wide and she squeezes my arm with both her hands. Soon I begin kindergarten. Mom tries to enroll Judy in school, but she has special needs that keep her home. Judy has what will come to be known as Down syndrome. She was born with an extra chromosome buried deep inside. The doctor said that she would have learning disabilities and that her heart was not as strong as it should be. Judy has never spoken a word. We wonder if she will ever talk. The doctors say that she is slow and will not get better. But they don't know Judy like I do. She's perfect just the way she is. She knows things that no one else knows and sees the world in a way that I never will. The colors of gone. One day I wake up and reach for my sister, but she's gone. I look for her everywhere. Daddy is gone too. I find Mommy in the kitchen, sitting alone. She tells me Judy's gone away. Daddy took her to a special school where she'll live now. The teachers there will help her learn to talk. That night, Daddy returns. I hide in the hall and listen as he tells Mommy how hard it was to leave Judy. I know how sad Judy must have been because now I feel sad too. And just like that, my whole world disappears and is replaced with the colors of gone. Our room stays the same. Judy's magazines, dolls, plastic zoo animals, and wooden blocks are scattered everywhere. Mommy puts Judy's toys in a box, but I won't let her take them away. Every night I pile the toys beside me on the bed and feel each one in the dark, thinking about the way Judy's hands hold them. Finally, my parents take me to visit my sister. I wear my yellow dress, just like Judy's, and hope she'll wear hers too, so everyone will know that we're twins. I pack her a magazine with pictures of bunnies that I know she'll love. But when we arrive, I don't understand. This place can't be a school. There's no playground and no desks or books or chalkboards, crayons, or colored paper. Judy and I hug each other tight. Then she sits right on the floor, pulling me down with her. She wants to look at the magazine, and I find the bunny page for her, and she likes it a lot. I knew she would. I clutch Judy close and say, "Hi," in a loud voice. I am desperate for her to learn to speak. Judy replies, "Ho, ho, ha," and pats my face. From that day on, in my mind, even though we are apart, Judy doesn't stay inside that horrible gray place. She stays outside with me, breathing in the colors of our world. Unbound. The years turn, and each time I visit my sister, I can't bear to say goodbye. I bring friends to meet Judy, and later my husband meets her, and then my children, but as time goes on, I'm now living so far away that the distance keeps us apart, yet I still dream of her by my side. I decide it's time. I call Judy's institution in Ohio and tell them I want her to come and live with me in California. I need to know everything about her so I can be ready for our life together. I press the phone hard to my ear. A woman tells me how difficult it is to care for my twin, especially because she's deaf. What does she mean, deaf? She tells me that Judy may have been deaf most of her life. How could she be deaf? And we didn't know. Is that why she never talked? Then I remember moments from our childhood. Judy running down the street and all of us shouting, and she just kept going. Judy! Judy! She needed my touch to stop when my parents called us inside. Judy's records arrive before she does. They read, "Not appropriate for any educational program, behavioral program, unmanageable." How dare they label my sister and deny her the right to learn? They don't know Judy like I do. Finally, the day comes, and the institution promises me that someone will accompany Judy on her first ever flight. But waiting at the airport with my family, I see the last person off the plane is a lone figure, small and stooped. In the distance, I rush toward her. My sister drops her purse and magazines and melts into my arms. My daughter slips in between us, and she too holds Judy while my husband wraps his arms around the bundle that is us. It's as if we were never apart. A new language. Judy is happy. We're all happy, but I know that she needs a place to learn, to be with people, especially while I'm away from home each day working as a nurse. I hear about a local art studio, Creative Growth Arts Center, that offers programs for adults with disabilities. The artists are encouraged to express themselves using whatever material they choose. I have no idea if Judy will like being here. I'm not aware of her making anything ever, not even a drawing. At Creative Growth, the walls are bursting with creativity. The teachers offer Judy the chance to work with clay and colored pencils, to try painting and working with wood. Many months go by, but nothing interests her. Judy only wants to look at our magazines. I worried that she might not be allowed to stay if she's not making art. Then one day, Judy watches a teacher spread out all sorts of natural materials. The teacher encourages Judy to join in. Judy picks up delicate willow twigs and winds them together with yarn and twine, weaving in odd bits of wood. She secures the bundle with nails and colorful pins, then paints it. And just like that, a form emerges. Her teachers are encouraged. We're all encouraged. Judy has made something as unique as she is. The next day, she makes another form and then another. And from that moment on, every morning, Judy bursts into creative growth and goes directly to her place in the studio, sets her magazines on a chair, and begins working. Judy chooses colored yarns and fibers and chunks of wood and shopping cart for her art. Sometimes she forages the studio for materials. Judy borrows a tool, someone's keys, or eyeglasses, and weaves these projects deep into her work. Then when a piece is complete, my sister gives a thumbs up, pats it, and pushes it away, and begins another. For years, Judy wraps and weaves, creating fantastic cocoon-like shapes filled with color. She wraps her head in beautiful hats, scarves, and ribbons, becoming her own work of art. Then one day, she makes a new piece unlike any other. Small and black, all the colors gone. Judy hands me her stack of beloved magazines. The next day, Judy dies in my arms. Though my sister died of heart failure, she lived much longer than anyone expected or could have hoped for. When she leaves this world, my sister is celebrated as a great artist. Her fame still grows. My twin and I shared a love as deep and wide as the starry night. We are two hearts forever entwined. It says, tying loose ends. After being confined to an institution for 35 years, Judy began a new life in California, where she attended the Creative Growth Arts Center in Oakland for the final 18 years of her life. Here she worked 5 days a week, creating more than 160 sculptures. As interest, even amazement in Judy's sculptured swells, Creative Growth arranged several shows of her work. She soon became an internationally recognized fiber artist. Her work has been shown in museums around the world, including New York, London, Paris, Dublin, Tokyo, Lausanne, Switzerland. Other artists at Creative Growth have achieved similar recognition and fame. Creative Growth is the first art studio of its kind for people with disabilities to explore, develop, and communicate their own creativity. The center is described as a model for creative community, guided by the principle that art is fundamental to human expression and that all people are entitled to its tool of communication. They have inspired similar art centers all over the world. Most important, the artists that are recognized not for their limitations, but for their vast potential. Judy's life and legacy Embody that truth. Ah, look at that. She was born in 1943 and she died in 2005. Far outlived her life expectancy. Isn't that beautiful? The author says, wherever we live, we find many people who are a bit different in one way or another. These individuals, because of their differences, are often thought of as being less than those who consider ourselves normal. They are often kept at a distance, not included in the everydayness of our lives, sharing laughter and meals, but bus rides and walks and work and cozy couch time and welcome night's sleeps. Because they're not valued, their unseen strengths and gifts often go unrecognized, unexplored, and undiscovered. Creative growth is a place that challenges these false perceptions. It's a place that welcomes and includes people who have been dismissed because of the obvious differences. At Creative Growth, people are given a chance to explore their own creativity and possibilities and to find their voice. In an environment like this, it's easy to see that there are no people without the gift of creativity and without a voice for singing, once given an opportunity to sing and be heard. Creative growth artists sing through their paintings, weavings, and pottery, and we are all richer for these newfound, undiscovered voices. Unbound. Yes. Heading into each day unbound. Wouldn't that? Yes. A little inspiration from that. Oh my gosh. Okay. I made it through barely that one. Thank you, Linda. Let's see. Grateful every day and give thanks to the universe for all we have. And prayers. Sunday, I'll show you my idea for Einstein. I have changed my mind again. Oh my goodness. Yeah, this. I think this story because I have 3 sisters and it's I know how much. Oh my gosh. Yeah, you're gonna cry. I did cry. Yeah, it did a lot. New life filled with wonder. Fuck, it's tough. I can't see. Oh, her sister. Intertwined. What was wrong? Did she have? Yes. Down syndrome. Oh my gosh. So that, and for her sister to write this book, my gosh, that's impressive. And the other 2 to join her, Bree Spangler, graduate from Rhode Island School of Design, author, illustrator of 2 picture books, and then Melissa Sweet, of course. Joyce Scott's done. She also has, Joyce Scott also wrote an adult memoir of her sister called Entwined, Sisters and Secrets in the Silent World of Artist Judith Scott. Oh, and they're the founders of the Bali Children's Project, establishing schools and educational opportunities, particularly for girls in Bali, Indonesia. Wow. Okay, you guys. I know that those were both kind of heavy stories, but they were, for me, they were super inspirational of things and what do and what we to share. Just these little, what we would miss out, what other people would miss out too if we don't share what we have. I think I get inspiration from you guys. I would never have started doing any of this art if it hadn't been for you guys showing and sharing and doing that kind of stuff. So keep it up. We'll share with each other. Okay, is Gail here? Gail, if you're here, hello. Hello. And anyway, it's the possibility is widespread. Exactly, Linda. Possibility. It's amazing. Ugh. So you guys, again, Larry, I don't think you'd made it into your house when I said how touched and amazed I was by the Prince of Botswana. It just, you took my photograph and elevated it to a whole another level. And I just absolutely adore that piece. I just, oh my gosh, it's so spectacular. So thank you very much for doing that. It made my day this morning. Bob practically came running down the stairs. He heard me gasp so loud because he thought something was wrong. When I opened your email, I was like, oh! And he's like running around. What's wrong? I'm like, no, look. So yes, you made me speechless. You guys, all your work is so stunning. And just being here, I just feel really super blessed to be here and to be able to kick off my week with you guys. It's absolutely amazing. And I will see you back here on Thursday. And I might do a video of pop on sometime where I'm trying to mix that stuff or do some other editing. Who knows if I'm doing that. But Thursday will be story times. If you see me pop in on other lives, it's because I'm just, it keeps me focused on doing some things, and I get it out there, and I'm trying to get through all of this. Man, reorganizing, that's going to be a thing. I'm going to be doing live working on my Lightroom catalog because I've got it. I have a plan. I listened to Scott Kelby, who I don't normally listen to very much, and he had a brilliant plan. So, and it fits with me, which is not exactly easy to do with this, like my vintage 1956 t-shirt. this old gal. That's me. All right, you guys. I'm going to get off because I'm sniffling up a storm here. And it's just been a great day, and closing it out with you guys just makes it even better. So thank you so much for being here. Thanks for coming into my life and letting me share these books with you, for sharing your artwork with me and letting me share it with everybody else. And you're so talented, and you're so gifted in not just your artwork, but in who you are. And it's a gift to me and to each other. So thank you so much. And until next time, everybody, keep looking for the beauty hidden in plain sight. It's all around you. But you know the first place you'll find it is when you go look in the mirror. It'll be looking right back at you. Until next time.
In the heat of the night, we could get lost in all the lights and sounds. Feeling alright, we won't go home, we will just stay here downtown. There's not just stars on the boulevard, they're in the light in your eyes. Oh, we don't need no black cards, I just need you by my side.
Yeah, this was a tissue night.
We could be sharing,
I should have warned you.
famous, running cool, with a love that leaves us weightless.
Oh, yay. Thank you, Linda.
Drop dead gorgeous, wow. Ooh, you got me feeling starstruck too. We could be famous. We could be famous. You blow my mind, looking like a
do. Wait till you see the other ones. Woohoo!